By late afternoon, the heat had driven most people indoors. Out on the open desert, the air was just sitting there, still, heavy, waiting. Lawns had gone dull. Crops were holding on. Water wasn't just welcome here, it was needed. Up in the mountains, something had started to change. A dark cloud settled in and didn't move. The light shifted, the wind dropped, and the air, it thickened. Not cooler, just heavier. And there was a smell to it, ozone, and the first hint of wet soil somewhere far off. You could almost feel things respond. Crops that had just been holding on seemed to lift, just a little. Out in the dust, something small moved, a toad, surfacing, as if it already knew. People noticed. Some stepped outside. Some just glanced up and went back to what they were doing. Rain, when it came, was usually a good thing, and almost no one in the valley had any reason to think otherwise. Up in the mountains, it had already started. Not as a storm anyone in the valley could see, just rain. Steady in places, heavy in others. The kind that doesn't stay where it falls. It found the slopes first, then the rock, and then it found the narrowed cuts and dry channels that had been waiting for it. Some for weeks, some for years. At first, it didn't look like much. Water slipping past stone, gathering, finding direction. But it didn't stop, and it didn't slow down, and everything it touched began to move with it. No one in the valley had any reason to notice. It reached the valley without warning, not as a slow rise, not as something people could watch and measure. It wasn't one thing. It was a collection. Small flows, rivulets, runoff, gathering, combining, until it arrived all at once. Water forcing its way through channels that had been empty just moments before. Fast, heavy, carrying whatever the mountains had given it. Rock, branches, mud. What had been open ground became something else entirely. And by the time most people realized what they were looking at, it had already passed them. For some, it was exactly what they had been waiting for. The ground, dry for many weeks, finally gave way. Water soaked in where it could, held where it hadn't been in a very long time. Crops that had been holding on didn't have to anymore. Even the air changed, cooler now, still heavy, but different. The kind of shift you don't measure, but you feel. For them, it wasn't a problem. It was relief. Not everyone saw it that way. In a narrow arroyo, two brothers had been playing in the dry sand. A little shade, a little cooler air. The kind of place that felt safe because it almost always was. A good place to pass the time. Pushing small tracks through the sand and letting the day move around them. At first, it was just a trickle. Water where there hadn't been any. Something to notice. Maybe even follow. Then they heard it. Not close, but coming. A low sound at first, growing fast. By the time it made sense, it was there, coming around the bend in the wash. The same water that had settled into the fields moved through that channel all at once. And then it was gone. The arroyo was empty again. Further down, it slowed. Not everywhere, but enough. Some of it spread out. Some of it settled. Some of it found its way into places built to hold it. Channels, basins, ground that had been waiting. By morning, it would be a part of something else. Stored, directed, used. That same water that rushed through the arroyo, would sit quietly here, soaking into fields, filling lines, moving through it all, not as food, but as something closer to blood, becoming something people depended on without ever seeing where it came from. Miles away, someone turns on a faucet. The water runs over a small cut, rinsing away the dirt, cooling the sting. They hold it there for a moment, letting it settle. The water comes, it always does. The water didn't change. Where it moved, who it reached, what stood in its way, that's what changed. The same flow settled into the soil, moved through channels, passed through hands, and took something with it and left something behind. Not because it was meant to, not because it was good or bad, just because it was there. So here's an ounce. What happens isn't always the whole story. Where you stand when it does, might be. And that's it. An ounce submitted for your consideration.